get married at?
Ridgeacre Hall.
which was the ecclesial home of West Birmingham.
Oh, right. And where did you go for your honeymoon?
St Ives, Cornwall.
And you were saying about your land and you were going to build on it. Obviously you didn't do that, so did you buy a house then after you got married, or did you rent first? Or?
We lived with my parents to start
Oh.
with whilst we were sorting it all out at Winterdyne. And Ken was working back in Birmingham at that time, back into industry, weren't you?
Yeah, I got a motorbike.
So we decided to buy a house nearer Birmingham. We bought a house at Romsley, which is just outside Halesowen.
Right up on the hills. It was a lovely location.
And we were there
Was it 3 years?
3 or 4 years.
Can you remember the cost of it?
Yes.
Yes.
2,250.
What was that, a 3-bedroom semi or?
Very small 3 bedrooms,
Yeah.
semi. Yeah.
With a little
With a lot of garden.
yeah, there was a little room on the back, wasn't there?
Yes.
Where the boiler was.
Yeah.
A little boiler. It was ever so tiny, but we were very happy there.
Mm.
And that was where our first child was born,
Oh,
in 57.
That was Nick.
That was Nick.
right.
And we belonged to Halesowen Meeting.
Right.
And then we started thinking about education. We were right out in the country, you see. And we decided, because Ken was travelling backwards and forwards from Birmingham, and we hadn't got a car in those days, he was using the bus, because we'd had a motorbike, but we had to sell the motorbike to buy a pram.
Times was hard, Ivan. Times
Yes.
were hard.
Good but hard.
Mm.
And we decided to move nearer to Birmingham, and we had another child on the way, so we moved to Sutton Coldfield and bought a little a modern semi-detached house in Sutton Coldfield, and then we joined Sutton Coldfield Meeting,
And
and
you
our second one was born there.
And that house cost us 2,370.
Those were the days.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned, as we're going on to transport, so you said you had a motorcycle. What sort of, you remember what sort it was?
It was, yes, it was an old BSA, a 150.
Right.
And it was great fun. We both enjoyed it, didn't we?
Yes.
Betty on the back, and we used to go
Over.
all over the place. I seem to remember going down to Tenby, looking for bed and breakfast in our leathers as they were, and knocking on this lady's door, and she took one look at us, and I think she sort of face dropped when she saw us in sort of motorcycle gear, but we smiled and we charmed her, and she said, yeah, that'll be fine. So we spent an Easter, wasn't it, there?
Yes, I think it was.
Was that without crash helmets?
With crash helmet.
With
crash
crash
helmets.
Oh, we had crash
Yes,
helmets.
we had crash helmets.
Right.
I think we did.
They were called corkers in those days, weren't they? The brand name was a corker.
Ah.
And the name of the coat that I got was Belstaff.
Yeah. So after the motorcycle, which was okay at the time, then eventually you went to a car, which was your first.
It wasn't a car,
Wasn't
Ivan.
it? Sorry?
It was a van. You see,
Oh, it was a new, it was nearly new.
it was 2 years old, and for tax purposes,
Mm.
it was really an estate car, but without the windows.
Remember.
And you could have the windows fitted after so many years. And if you're going to ask me, Ivan, how much it cost, I'll tell you. It cost £250. It was 2 years old. We hadn't got the money, and I had to go to the company's bankers and say to the bank manager, I'm very sorry, I've been very naughty. I've ordered this car, can you give me a loan? So he said, I'll give you a loan providing you buy an insurance from me. So I bought the first insurance policy that we ever had, and it was underwritten by Norwich Union.
And then you did have your first car later on after that? Or?
We eventually, we had windows put into
Oh,
this.
right.
It was an A35,
Oh, yeah.
Austin A35, a blue one. And the back seats folded down. It was quite nice.
Yes, and all our holidays were camping
Right.
in those days. By this time we'd got 3 children,
Mm.
3 boys. And they used to sleep in the van, and we slept in a little two double tent,
Yeah,
a little tiny tent. Yes, that was great fun though.
It was fun.
So you were saying about your camping, so mainly your holidays were camping holidays, and yeah. Have you ever been abroad?
Oh yes,
Right.
we did start to climb up
Right,
the
oh,
scale.
So
Later.
where did you first go abroad?
Where did we went to France. We went with the Watsons, didn't we?
Yes,
We
to the west coast.
yeah.
St.
A young couple had come to a special, and the special was entitled, it was at Sutton. The special was entitled, "Is religious education necessary?" And this couple came to it, and we started to talk to them, and we found that they were interested in the Jehovah's Witnesses, but they realised that they couldn't go completely along with the witnesses. And to cut a long story short, we taught them the truth, they came into the truth, and they'd got, was it 3 children at the time, and we went with them to the north of France, Brittany. We went to a place called
St. Mark.
St Mark, which is about 5 kilometres out of Saint-Nazaire, and it was very, very nice. That was the first time we went abroad with the family.
And that was camping.
That was camping.
But we'd got a bigger tent then.
Yes, we got a bigger frame
Proper
tent.
family tent by then. hadn't we?
Yeah, then eventually we changed that. We bought a caravan.
Oh. And you still went abroad with that, or you still?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, we took that abroad.
And all over the place in this country.
Yeah, we pulled the caravan virtually all over this country, and I think we've been to France, Germany, Luxembourg, Austria, Italy, and Switzerland with the caravan. But things,
And across the Pyrenees, France
that's right.
and Spain.
I got a better job, more responsible job, so we could afford to fund it. But on one occasion we had 3 weeks away in the caravan, which was very nice. They were good days.
Yeah.
And incidentally, before we moved into this house, we bought the house before it was built, and we put the caravan on the site which is now the Kilworth House Hotel on the main road.
Oh.
And we lived in it for 6 months whilst this house was being built.
Right, going on from holidays then to hobbies. Betty, you've got a hobby that you do at the moment, but have you had any other hobbies or?
No, not really. With 3 boys I didn't have much time for hobbies for myself. And then when Simon went to school, Simon is the youngest, I put myself through college and trained to be a teacher, so I didn't have any time really for hobbies.
No. But now?
But now I paint.
Paint.
But that's all really, and garden.
What do you paint?
Anything really. Watercolours.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Anything that takes my fancy.
Yeah. Ken, have you had or have hobbies?
Not really.
No, I suppose looking back, when I was at school, the hobby was something that you mentioned earlier on this morning, was stamp collecting. I was interested in stamp collecting. Betty always worried because I didn't have a hobby. Really, my business life precluded that. I was very heavily involved in the Sunday school and the youth club, and really there didn't seem to be the time available to indulge in hobbies. I was always committed to do something, and I've been very fortunate because I've been able to give instruction to an awful lot of people, a lot of young people, more elderly people. And again, that took the time. There really wasn't the time for hobbies. If you ask me what my hobby is now, I'll tell you. I spend a lot of time on a computer. Not computer games, but work for the CVM, which I thoroughly enjoy. But hobbies as such as you would understand it, I didn't have any. I came here, I've always been interested in doing a bit of do-it-yourself decorating and coping with maintenance. But tempus fugit and age and arthritis and backache and...
Have either of you ever played a musical instrument?
Yes,
Yes.
yes. I played the piano for 2 years. And don't you dare ask me to play hymns for Abingdon Road. Because the fingers aren't so nimble now as they used to. But I had 2 years before I went to grammar school.
Right.
If I'm honest, I didn't like the practice, and neither do our grandchildren like the practice, because they started to play musical instruments. Although Daniel still plays the piano, doesn't he?
But the saxophone's gone by the
The
wayside.
saxophone, yeah. Josh, the middle one, he was learning the saxophone. He was quite good really, but he's given it up.
It's too much like hard work.
It's the practice. There are so many distractions, and consequently, my excuse was I couldn't do the practice and homework, and the reality was I didn't do the practice or the homework.
Betty, did you play an instrument?
I played the violin,
Oh, right.
yes. I actually played in the town hall at Birmingham once with the school's orchestra. But I gave that up too.
Oh, right. You don't do it now?
No.
Right.
I think it's a mistake really. Perhaps we both regret the fact that we gave it up. We ought to have carried on, because it is an invaluable asset if you can play.
Agree.
It's something you have to give your life to though,
Wow.
to do it properly. That's the problem.
Unless you're natural,
Mm.
you know, just do it as you feel like it.
But the violin isn't an instrument that you can just pick up and play
No.
a happy tune with, is it?
No. No. So talking about musical instruments, Betty, do you have a favourite or a piece of music or all sorts of music that you like?
I like lots of classical music. Mozart is one of my favourite composers. Lots of pieces. I wouldn't say I've got a real favourite. I listen to music a lot. I don't always recognise what it is, I just know I like it.
We used to go, Ivan, regularly to the town hall in Birmingham, to the concerts we used to go. Often probably 6 or 7 times a year, and it was mandatory that you went every Christmas to hear the Messiah. And people like Isabel Bailey, who really was the soprano of her age, you know, was a fine singer, so we used to do that. If you ask me what my love of music is, I'm going to surprise you, because I have a Catholic taste in music. I love classical music. I also like jazz. Now, I don't know how you can equate that, but I do like jazz.
You also like it very loud.
Well, I don't like it
I
as...
like it soft in the background.
Betty lives her life when she's in there painting against the background of soft music. If I listen to music, it's got to be loud so I can hear it, and it reverberates in my ears, and so consequently I don't play it very often, because the lady of the house says, "Can you just turn it down a little?" But it is a Catholic taste in music. I don't like chamber music
Or modern music.
or modern music, modern classical music. I don't understand it at all. No, it leaves me cold. and are not terribly fond of opera.
Right, well I think that's, might say, a good note to finish on, and thank you.